An unexpected evening. It was a quiet evening, and I had just sat down on the couch thinking about how hectic my day had been. I was looking forward to a few moments of peace, but little did I know that the evening would take an unexpected turn that I couldn't have imagined. The living room was dimly lit, casting soft shadows around the room. The cozy atmosphere felt welcoming, and everything seemed to be in its place. I was alone, or so I thought. I leaned back to relax and absent-mindedly reached between the cushions of the couch. That's when it happened. My hand got stuck. I tried to pull it out gently at first, thinking it was no big deal, but the more I struggled, the more stuck it seemed to get. My frustration grew, and before long I realized I couldn't free my hand on my own. Just as I was about to get up and call for help, my stepson walked into the room. He's tall, handsome, and has this mysterious way about him that I had noticed before, but never really thought much of. His presence was strong, and as he approached me, I felt a sudden tension in the air that I hadn't felt before. "What happened?" he asked, his voice slow and smooth as he saw me struggling with the couch. I explained what had happened, laughing it off nervously. He smiled, but there was something in his eyes, something different I couldn't quite place, but I felt it. He moved closer, kneeling down beside the couch, his face inches away from mine. His hands reached out, and he gently grabbed my wrist, trying to pull my hand free. The room suddenly felt warmer. His touch was soft, deliberate. I found myself focusing on his hands, the way they moved, how careful he was being, and yet how confident. His face was so close to mine now, I could feel his breath on my cheek. My heart started racing, but not because I was stuck anymore. There was something else happening, something unspoken that neither of us acknowledged but both felt. His fingers brushed against mine, and I shivered slightly, but not from the cold. He noticed, and his eyes flicked up to meet mine. The moment stretched on, heavy and filled with tension. I tried to say something, anything to break the silence, but my words caught in my throat. "Let me help you," he said softly, his voice taking on a different tone, one that made my pulse quicken. He leaned in even closer, his body brushing against mine as he tried to get a better grip on my wrist. My hand was still stuck, but that was the last thing on my mind now. The proximity between us was overwhelming, the heat between our bodies undeniable. I could smell his cologne, that familiar scent, but now it seemed more intoxicating than ever before. For a moment, it felt like time had stopped. His hand tightened slightly around my wrist, not enough to hurt, but enough to make me fully aware of the contact. I could feel every inch of him near me, and my mind raced with thoughts I shouldn't have been thinking. Finally, with one last tug, my hand came free, but instead of pulling away, he stayed close, his fingers still wrapped around my wrist. I looked at him, my breath catching in my throat as I realized that we were both frozen in this moment. Neither of us wanted to move. "Are you okay?" he asked, his voice softer than before, almost a whisper. I nodded. barely able to speak, my body betraying me as I felt a wave of something unfamiliar wash over me. This was wrong. I knew that, but at the same time, it felt like something I had been waiting for, something that had been building between us for a long time, even if I hadn't realized it. Before I could say anything, he leaned in closer, his lips just inches from mine. I could feel the tension between us crackling like electricity. My heart pounded in my chest, and all rational thought flew out of my head. I wanted to pull away, but I couldn't. I didn't want to. His lips brushed against mine, just a soft, tentative touch at first, as if testing the waters, but then something shifted. The kiss deepened, and I found myself responding without thinking. His hand slid from my wrist to my waist, pulling me closer, and I let him. I didn't care about anything else in that moment, only the way he made me feel, the way he was kissing me, as if he had wanted this for as long as I had without even knowing it. Time seemed to blur, the lines of what was right and wrong disappearing in the heat of the moment. I couldn't think straight, couldn't focus on anything but him and the way his body felt against mine. The kiss grew more urgent, more desperate, as if we both knew this was something forbidden, but neither of us wanted to stop. His hands moved over my body, exploring, caressing, and I melted into his touch. Every part of me responded to him, every nerve ending alive with sensation. It was thrilling, dangerous, and intoxicating all at once. My breath came in short gasps as I lost myself in the moment, in him. We pulled away, both of us breathless, staring at each other in disbelief at what had just happened. His eyes searched mine, and for a moment I wondered if he felt the same guilt and confusion that I did. But then he smiled, that same mysterious smile that had always made my heart skip a beat. And I knew this wasn't the end. This was just the beginning. The rest of the evening was a blur, filled with stolen glances, brief touches, and the lingering tension that hung in the air between us. We both knew this was something we couldn't explain, something we shouldn't even try to understand. It was a secret, our secret, one that neither of us could ever share. But that didn't stop us from wanting more. As the night went on, the boundaries between us blurred even further. Every accidental touch, every look felt charged with something more, something dangerous and exciting. I could feel the pull between us growing stronger, and it terrified me as much as it thrilled me. What had started as an innocent moment, my hand stuck in the couch, had turned into something far more complicated, something that neither of us could ignore anymore. There was no going back from this. The lines had been crossed, and we both knew it. But despite the guilt and the confusion, there was one thing I couldn't deny. I wanted him, and from the way he looked at me, I knew he wanted me too. That night, as I lay in bed, my mind raced with everything that had happened. I knew it was wrong, knew that we had crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed, but I couldn't stop thinking about him, about the way he had kissed me, the way his hands had felt on my body. This was just the beginning, and I had no idea where it would lead, but one thing was certain: nothing would ever be the same again. The next few days were filled with an undeniable tension that seemed to follow us everywhere. Every time we were in the same room, it felt like the air itself was thicker, charged with something unspoken. I tried to go about my daily routine, but it was impossible to stop thinking about that night, about the kiss, about how close we had come to crossing a line that neither of us had ever imagined. And the worst part was, I didn't regret it. He was around the house just as he always had been, but now every time he looked at me, I could feel it. There was something in his eyes, something that hadn't been there before. It was as if we both knew a secret that no one else could ever know, a secret that changed everything between us. If you're enjoying this story, make sure to like and subscribe to my channel for more suspenseful and thrilling stories just like this one.